Hey guys, we're here to talk about the Forte 20 sleeping bag by Nemo.
We'll be talking about the things that we like and don't like about the sleeping bag. So let's go ahead and start with the likes.
So this sleeping bag is not like your normal mummy sleeping bag. This one definitely has a lot more room. It allows for you to turn while you're in the sleeping bag. So it's made a lot more for side sleepers. Well, back sleepers as well, right? But it definitely accommodates for the side sleep. So I personally like to sleep on my back.
And I sleep on both my back and on my side. So I do turn a lot throughout the night.
I definitely like that this sleeping bag doesn't feel like it constricts you or is choking you. It gives you enough space to, kind of move around inside the sleeping bag.
Another thing that we like is that these sleeping bags are fairly warm.
So the sleeping bag is rated for 20 degrees, although the comfort settings for the sleeping bag is 35 degrees. So we recently camped in a campground that got to 35 degrees, and I felt like the sleeping bag was pretty warm. Now, I was pretty comfortable.
I didn't find it to be that warm, even though I was wearing my wool base layers and some thick socks. But one thing that I do like about these is that we can put them together. So I was able to get some of his warmth.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think, a big like. If you get a left-sided sleeping bag and then you got the right-sided for the women's and vice versa, you're able to zip them together. Now you got a big sleeping bag that you can share the warmth. So one thing I found interesting about these sleeping bags is that they have thermal gills. So at first I didn't even know that's what they were. I thought it was just like a pocket. If it gets too warm inside your sleeping bag, you unzip it and it allows ventilation to go inside. And if it's cold, you just close it up and it seals it shut and it keeps more of the warmth inside the sleeping bag. So that was quite interesting. Something that I think we both liked.
Yeah, that's definitely a feature that I like. In the warmer months that we use the sleeping bags in, I did open it up and it was able to regulate my temperature fairly well. And in the colder times, I would zip it up and I would notice that I would feel a little bit warmer.
So I think definitely a big like. It has a pillow pocket. It's a pocket right behind the part where you rest your head, and it allows you to stuff either a pillow, right, or a jacket or something that you can use to help elevate your head so you can be more comfortable. So I found that quite interesting.
I haven't really used that feature, but I do really like the smaller pocket that's closer to the chest of the sleeping bag. That's where I keep my sleeping mask and also my wedding ring. That way I'm not like looking around for it or risk losing it. So I really like that pocket.
I usually use that for some earplugs because you can never go wrong with earplugs on campground. Some people are loud, or if you're just, a sensitive sleeper, I always sleep more comfortable with some earplugs.
Another unique feature that I really like is the blanket fold. So this just helps you feel like a little bit more cozy. I also noticed that it keeps the cold drafts from really going into the sleeping bag. So it just adds extra comfort and extra warmth.
Makes you feel like you're at home and you got a real blanket.
Yeah, it
Essentially,
does.
that's what it's supposed to do. So another thing that I liked about the sleeping bag is that it has a breathable football. So another thing that I liked about the sleeping bag is that it has a waterproof and breathable foot box that's supposed to help with condensation inside the tent to keep your feet nice and warm, right?
I would say the feature, it definitely lives up to the description. And now for the dislikes.
The biggest dislikes for me, I think, is definitely putting it back into its sack, its travel sack, not the one that you use, at home. Because you don't want to keep this sleeping bag in its stuff sack throughout the whole year or whenever you're not using it, right? I always struggle with it. My goal is always trying to pack it as small as it can so you can stick it in your backpack. So I always struggle with that. But maybe that's just every sleeping bag. But I know the past 3 that I've used, I always struggle with it. And I thought this one was going to be easier, and it's not. It's just as difficult to stuff it back into its travel sack.
And for me, the dislike would be that it just didn't feel warm enough in the 35-degree weather. So it makes me wonder if we go camping in even cooler weather, I don't think I would be warm. I would probably have to layer up even more. And again, when we used it in 35-degree weather, I was wearing wool base top and bottoms. I had my thickest wool blend socks, and I also had a beanie on and an extra long sleeve shirt, and I was still pretty chilly.
Another dislike for me would be that it's too warm for the summertime. But again, I in the summertime I don't use a blanket as it is. But this sleeping bag was just too warm, so I'll stick my feet in there, but most of my body's out. It's right. It's like you finding the comfort setting, like when you're at home, you're in bed, and it's like one hand under the blankets, but your feet outside, and it's like, oh yeah, this is comfortable.
Overall, we really enjoyed these sleeping bags. There's a lot more things that we like about them versus the things that we don't like about them.
We haven't tested the sleeping bags in 20-degree weather yet. Maybe in the future we'll try it. I would suggest honestly layering up. Although I found it warm in 35-degree weather, I wouldn't, trust it and just go into 20-degree weather straight off the back unless, have a lot of layers on or you have a sleeping bag liner. So, be smart, make memories, share your memories down below. If you guys have any questions or suggestions about these sleeping bags, please write them down below.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys.